This is very exciting. Welcome everyone to our third book launch. This is the book titled The Coaching Science. It's by our amazing authors, Tünde and Angelis, and a wonderful group of coaches from all over the world, from the Netherlands, from Australia, from China, from Saudi Arabia. And we came together to make this book available just to share with everyone our experience. I will just start with a brief introduction first about Octarium and their contribution to the research, and then we will talk to the wonderful team of authors about the book, about their experience in the research. So we're talking about two things. We're talking about the research and how it went about and all the information on that. And then we're going to talk about the book itself and why was it important to not just focus on the research in terms of scientifically what the results are, but also our experience and our journey in that book. So allow me to welcome everyone, especially the coaches who from all over. We have, like I said, we have coaches from the Netherlands, from Australia, from Austria, from US, and welcome everyone to Octarium book launch. I'll just tell you briefly what Octarium is. It's a center specialized in coaching. It's located here in Saudi Arabia. It's considered the first Saudi center specialized in providing coaching services. And of course, it's accredited by the ICF. And it has been in business since 2015. The focus, the most important thing for Octarium is to empower individuals and organizations and to contribute to the positive change. So there's all the services that we provide in Octarium revolves around empowerment and contributing to positive change. So we provide training services, training programs in coaching and other related fields. We do coaching sessions for individuals and companies. We also provide assessments like DISC, emotional intelligence, and it's all under the umbrella of what people need to learn more about themselves and to empower. And so when I first started in Octarium, it's a very interesting story, and when Tünde and I had our last conversation, we were talking about that, and she said, you have to share this story. So when I just first started working in Octarium, and it's a very open environment, very friendly environment. We have a really small team, yet very powerful. We work together very closely. So we had a big meeting about what we wanted to do and what are the dreams, where does everyone who works in Octarium would like to see happening within the next year. And myself being a very big believer in research, coming from a field of sociology and anthropology where research and scientific proof is really important to understand humanity and to understand how to move forward. So out of just the first thing that came to my mind was I think research is really important, especially that for me personally, when I started searching more about coaching and trying to decide if I really want to quit my job and pursue a career in coaching. And I noticed that there's this gap of there's no actually scientific research on coaching. There are some statistics here and there are some studies, there are case studies, but at least I couldn't find something that is solid telling me this is what coaching is all about and this is what coaching, how does coaching work. So when I said that, I guess I was just, I don't know, the heavens were like looking at me and say, here you go, this is what you wish for. And just shortly after that, Coach Abdullah, who's the general manager of Octarium, came to the office and said, listen, I have this project, what do you think? And I said, yes, please, I want it. And we had the conversation, Tünde and I, about what we can do, not just as coaches, but as a center, as Octarium, to help this project move forward and to actually be successful. And what we did is Coach Abdullah, he's an advocate of research and an advocate for not only that coaching is important, but actually having some kind of impact on coaching and moving and developing this field. So he was really open to the idea of having more coaches. We have around 300 coaches who graduated from Octarium, so we invited as many as we could to participate. Of course, there were some challenges, especially that the sessions were videotaped, some clients were not comfortable, confidentiality and all these things, but we were lucky to manage to provide almost 200 coaching sessions from Octarium coaches. And if anyone from them is here today or tonight, I would like to thank them. We really appreciate their contribution to this research. And it was really interesting because just I think the theme that I see personally from the beginning of the research till now and with the book and everything is that sometimes you just be very present and open, and you wish something from the heart and you really believe in it, and even though it looks like a leap of faith, but you just have that sense of security inside that it will happen for the best. And I think it's just amazing how this journey, I think each one of us had the special journey of this research in terms of what it meant for us individually and at a personal level and at a professional level. So I just wanted to share this story because it was really interesting how I wanted something that I said without thinking about how it's going to happen and where is it going to come from. I just said it and then it just happened. And of course, the support that we had from Coach Abdullah and from Octarium was very helpful. So this is just a brief introduction about how I came about to this project and how Octarium contributed to this project. And I don't want to talk a lot. I want to hear from everyone who's with us tonight and to speak about their own experiences. I have some questions ready, but I just wanted to make it as easy flow as possible and to share the experience and to really talk about why is this book very important and what is this book gonna add, what is the value that it's gonna add to the coaching field. I think the majority of our attendees are gonna be our coaches. So I think this is the thing that they will be looking for to hear from us. So that's my introduction. And I just want to welcome everyone here. The program will be just an open conversation, and then for about like 45 minutes, and then we will talk, and then Coach Abdullah will be speaking in Arabic about coaching presence. So I don't want to delay this any further. Just wanted to welcome Tünde and Grace and Simone and everyone here, and just give the floor to you, Tünde, if you would like to introduce yourself first and then talk about the project and the book. And yeah, the floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to first of all spell out a word of thank you to Octarium, okay? Because, and also to Coach Abdullah and RH to you, because you were managing the process with your coaches. And we would not be sitting here, we would not be advertising for a book if it hadn't been for your passion and for your belief in positive change. And that's what I really truly appreciate about you, that you hang in there and you had this faith in yourself to just give it a go and do what you felt like you wanted to do, because that's how I came to research as well.
Yeah.
So a word of thank you to Octarium and to you for doing what you have been doing and still doing, and keep saying yes to everything that I offer to you and trusting me. Because it's not normal that, you know, like we haven't never seen each other live and you just trust me and the milestones that we have reached so far, and it seems to work so nicely. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I would like to actually also set the stage for tonight, because originally it was meant that Angelis, Iglesias, who is actually based in Texas, Austin, Texas, who is my partner in this book project and who's been helping us, the other book contributors, and me to make this book fly. So we have her with us, and she's going to speak about the business marketing and publishing and the challenges around setting up a book like this. And then what is new today is that two coaches who participated both in the research project and then as book contributors in the book, Grace Q from the United Kingdom and Simone Reeves from Switzerland, who would like to also actually speak and give their perspectives of what it felt like to be in the research project, what made them say yes to this complex thing, because the project was really complex, and I'm going to speak a bit about that. And why the hell did they say yes to yet another big project, the book? After that, didn't they have enough after the research project? So what made them actually say yes 2 times? Also, we have never met each other live, so investing this immense trust and inspiration and engagement in something that you called positive change. So I wanted to set the stage for this, that we have got these 2 coaches and then Angelis and myself who would like to share perspectives, because I don't think that the book is about me and it's a fruit of beautiful collaboration that has emerged unplanned. Just the way you have never planned to be part of this project, it came your way. So did our path match, just by pure magic, if you will.
I guess you have magic that you don't know of, where you got everyone saying yes to you. So
oh, that's scary when people will say yes to me. So it's kind of no. I just want to acknowledge that I understand that it takes big faith. You called it a leap of faith. Like, how do you make this leap of faith to say yes to something where you absolutely know nothing about? Okay, so to introduce myself a little bit, I am based in Austria. I am an executive coach. I have been working in coaching psychology for over 15 years now. And I hold a master's degree in executive coaching, and I am certified with the International Coaching Federation at MCC level, which is the highest accreditation that you can attain with ICF. And I'm also certified with EMCC, which is the European Coaching and Mentoring Council, based in the UK, and as senior practitioner. And currently I am doing my PhD and in the process of writing up the dissertation paper, and also authoring 2 books. So, and the one is out there, and the second one is being published in September. So the book that we are going to speak about today is actually a perspective-taking book. So it's not really speaking about the results of the research. It actually addresses this element of why do research? Why invest yourself? Why care? Why do we need research? And the purpose being to inspire people to not just, do any simple survey that you go out there and you have the people fill in some questionnaires and then you have your data and then you go out there and speak the big truth.
Yeah.
But to really invest yourself in something more complex. As you were saying today, Araj, like, we don't know how coaching works. We don't know. But we are actually going out there confidently and working with clients.
Yeah.
So what is this sense of responsibility that we have when we're actually working in this profession? What is our sense of responsibility when we go out there and we want clients to pay our bills? How do we contribute with responsibility? How do we know that what we do is going to help them and not harm them? So this is actually what the first book speaks about, like, to encourage everyone to do research, to be interested in doing research, because that's what we need to make ourselves credible as a profession in coaching. And if we fail to do so, why should we expect anyone to trust us and to help them? And we know that our field is not very well established. And that clients are highly critical of what we are doing.
Yes.
And they are right. They are right, because the question is, what are we contributing as coaches from our end to increasing the credibility with them? Why should they trust us? Why should they come? Do we do voodoo with them or what? And how well are we explaining to them that, hey guys, what we are doing is actually, this is based on solid research that I participated in. I know, because I've been part of this, I know how the research worked, and I've learned in this process. I've grown as a practitioner. I have learned about research, the value of it. I experienced it on the one hand, and on the other hand, hey, I care about you, because I think that I owe it to you, dear client, that you believe me that I can help you. So this is actually how this project has come about for me as well. This pure, this true belief that if we show up responsibly towards our clients, then we can be better coaches and then do our business actually of coaching, rather than being afraid of and also creating a lack of stability out there.
Yeah. It's very interesting that you mentioned that, because you see it more in places like in Saudi Arabia, where coaching is still considered something that is not really familiar, not very established. So still people are asking, what is coaching? How is it different from psychology? How is it different from consultancy? And so when you have this evidence, this scientific research-based evidence, like you mentioned, it gives you credibility, and it gives you also some sort of confidence that, you know what I'm doing is real. And if you want to see how real it is, there is proof to it. So it's very important.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to stress this point that I like placing my practice actually on 3 pillars. And one of the pillars is, of course, practical wisdom. So experience this, when we work with the clients, this practical element of professional wisdom. So we become wise, we grow with our profession as we practice it. So that's column number 1. Then we have column number 2, which is research. But we don't have enough research because we are not interested in investing ourselves really, because, research, what is it? Tünde, you are in an ivory tower, you do your research and this is facts and figures. So, but we do need this element of research, and we need to make it accessible to people, because it's true, when people are skeptical about research, I understand these people. Why should they believe in research? There's so much harmful research out there. Because it's not being explained, it just cloaked in statistics. Nobody understands. It doesn't seem to be real. We cannot touch it. We cannot work with it. Or it is actually used and abused. So facts and figures, or people are asking like, who subsidized your research? So depending of who is giving you the money to do that piece of research, that's going to be the influencer of the outcomes. Yeah. So I do understand when people are skeptical about research, and we can help people to believe in research more if we do it in an ethical way. And if we then make it accessible to them, we open up the research. And this is not happening. So the purpose of the book actually is have the coaches who had participated in complex ethical research to speak about their experience. How was it? How did they learn? How did they grow? So that it can become accessible and tangible. You know, like people are like, okay, so research is not a monster. It's not going to do me any harm. It's going to, oh yeah, this is it. So when we have this aha moments from readers and anyone who is hopefully going to be curious enough to read into the stories that the coaches are telling. That's the value of writing a book about research. That's, okay, so maybe I can also do research. So if this is creating value, so and this is how we can, activate people to do research rather than say, well, this is useless. Yeah. And the third pillar is basically philosophy. We forget that actually the wisdom that we hold comes a lot from the Greeks, from philosophers, and we need this element of dialectic exchange, this discourse, this element of, talking about things. Because I am not a proponent of believing in research. I am sitting here to be challenged by you. Hopefully that there will be a lot of questions out there, that people will ask questions to challenge us, to have a discourse like Aristotle was doing. He was challenging the people, said, okay, come on guys, let's have a dialectic discourse, because my theory will only hold true as long as you can ask me a question that can disprove it. So, and this is how we can dig deeper and deeper to truth, by allowing for discourse. I mean, I'm calling it philosophy, but actually what I'm meaning to say by this is to allow for discussion. And that's why we need platforms like you are offering here so graciously, to open up platforms for people to have dialogues with us, so that we can also see where are the limits of our understanding. Because I might have done this research all right, and it has got super findings and great value, but this is only just one drop in the ocean. So we are not done yet. We have just begun. So, and to open up discourse. So I believe in these three pillars of knowledge, and I wanted to share it with you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And actually, Araj, I just wonder, because I see Angelis pop up a lot of times in my. Can I ask Angelis, why did you say yes to this book project?
Yes, please do.
Well, you were the one who said yes to the book project, actually. People say yes to you, and you were really inspired to say yes to me when I came up with the idea that there is so much value in what we all learn as coaches, and you did, just by participating in research, right? And that's where it came from. I was inspired to write a proposal about a book where we did many things with the book. I had high expectations and many goals, but at the core was enhance the knowledge of in coaching science, right? Talk about the value of it as a foundation, and also provide some tools for practitioners. And when I mean practitioners, I'm talking about people that use coaching. And now we all need to use coaching, right? And in human resources, in management, when we're part of a team, we coach each other. It's a tool that is incredibly valuable, and people need to know that. And if I can get really personal here, coaching changed my life. And that's why I believe in coaching, and that's why I do coaching science and participate in research and write about not only creating knowledge in the science and discipline, but also translating the knowledge that is already there so that we can implement it. And that's one of the most important things. There's amazing research there and data and information that scientists and create and researchers that goes to waste. And we want to share it with the world and then have more people do coaching science, right? And then create their own programs and implement it in their practices. So the idea was that how can we do that in a way that people will read it and enjoy it and learn through it, through all that we experienced? And it was through the stories of the coaches, of course. How did they experience research? How did it affect them? How did it affect their practice? And also, we were so fortunate. We also had some clients that were willing to write about their experience while working with the coaches during the research. So all of this it's a backstage view of what an incredibly huge, because this was monumental research in terms of all the participants and then the clients, whatever. It's a look behind the research, behind backstage on what happened, who are the stakeholders, what did they do, how did they benefit, what were the problems? We talk about that as well. What were the challenges? How did we overcome them? And so all of that demystifies the idea of coaching, of doing science, of doing research, and especially in our field, which is coaching. Myself, I am an applied psychology practitioner, so coaching is at the core of that. That is the most important part of the things that I do with my clients. And I was so brave because when I introduced the idea to Tünde, it didn't take her long, actually. I don't know. She just said, yes, immediately. I had not even finished telling her about it. Yes, because she saw the value of capturing all this knowledge that we have been creating, and we had not even realized that we were creating all of this knowledge. And it was not going to go to waste. It was going to be useful to other people, not only coaches, but people that are in management and part of teams and human resources and everybody else.
Yeah, it's interesting what you're saying, because there's a story that's coming to my mind. Arej, will you allow me to share this story?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so
I'm not sure which story it is, but go ahead.
Pardon me? What?
I'm not sure which story are you talking about, but go ahead.
Well, I can offer it to you, and then so the thing is that when I was when coaching presence as the theme, as the research theme came up, I felt like there was a big theoretical, conceptual discussion about it. So presence being, yeah, we understand my presence, your presence, leadership presence. So there's a lot of talk out there about presence. But what I found is nobody really knows what it is, because there hasn't been any research done in this. So everybody's speaking about something that they don't know. And the story basically is the elephant and the 7 wise men. I'm not sure if anyone is familiar with the story, that the elephant and the 7 wise men. So there is an elephant, and there is a board of 7 wise men, who are debating the truth about the elephant. And each of these wise men goes to and grabs one part of the elephant. The one grabs the tail, and the other one grabs the earlobe, and the other one the trunk, and the leg, and the torso. So each of them grabs one part of the elephant, and then they kind of like have a discourse, right? They have a dialogue, and they say like, okay, describe to me the elephant, right? And then the one that holds the tail of the elephant says like, you know, the elephant is long, but they are blind. Okay, so these wise men are blind. And the one is holding the tail and says, well, you know, this is long, and it's a little bit hairy, but it's very long and very thin. And the one that is holding the earlobe says, no, you are wrong. The elephant is actually flat. It's flat, and it's kind of like a pancake, and it's huge. And then the one that holds the torso says, oh guys, you are so wrong. This is nothing to do with flat or slim or long. This is big, huge, monstrous. It's massive. And so on and so forth. So each of these wise men who are actually blind, but grabbing hold of one part of the elephant, believes to be holding the truth without really seeing the entire elephant.
Yeah. And
that's what it felt to me when I was called to do research through practical experience. I had a coach-client engagement where an almost failure moment that actually prompted me to do research. So that's how it felt to me. I felt like each scholar or coach is holding one part of the elephant, and everybody's telling the world that they are what they know, that this is true. And I said, hold your horses, guys. We need to kind of like start really looking into this, what it might be. So that's how I felt called to do research, because if we keep doing as the wise blind men were doing, holding just one part of the element, how can we ever help our clients if we just hold one tiny bit of the truth? So it was about this inspiration to enlarge and to deepen our understanding, to be, as I said already, more credible with the client. So so that's the story that came to my mind while Angelis was speaking to.
I also said the other day at an interview that this book is many things, but one thing that impressed me is that I hope we start a trend of scientists and practitioners collaborating more closely and benefiting from that, because this is the time to do it. I mean, we're so science is losing its luster, so to speak, with being discredited and unappreciated, and I think it's necessary to bring that up, and also for the benefit of people that are working with clients, practitioners, to come in with science and create and do something even better and higher and more valuable. And that concept as well in every other industry. It's that foundation that science gives you, and then the wings that the practice will give you, because it can provide you many other ways to express it, right? So the goals for the book were many, but if I had to say 3 goals that it had that I hope people will get from the book is, first, know that you can ground your practice in science. It's not hard, and to follow methods and research knowledge that's already there. And also, you can develop your style by knowing about this research and about doing your own research. And if you do that, you can take your clients to a place where they've never been before in terms of results. So those were our high expectations for the people that read the book and then go forth and take action on it.
Yeah. And also one part was the technology, because it's one of the first projects ever in coaching. I think I don't know of any that has been using technology or artificial intelligence to do actually 2 things, to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. On one hand, to use more objective ways of measuring something, like using a software that it's not a subjective me evaluating you. It's not the researcher who's evaluating and interpreting into the data, but it's a software that's been validated and to investigate a phenomenon and assess it on one hand. But then also we had the clients report subjectively about their experience. So it's the first time that we are using 2 approaches: technology, artificial intelligence on one hand, and on the other hand, subjective ways of reporting, telling the truth, this experiential truth about what was going on for the clients, and then trying to match these 2 truths, the objective and the subjective, and see, like, do they make sense at all? Is the software able to measure presence? Is it able to measure energy? And you will be surprised, yes, it can. because I started giving feedback to the coaches about their individual results. And the way I give feedback is that I first tell the coaches, okay, before I show you your data, please tell me your story with your client. So talk about how would you assess your own process with the client? What was your coaching experience? What did you notice? How did the client work, etc. Then I'm taking notes, and then I'm telling, okay, and now I will show you your results. And so far, all the results, like the research results that were measured with the software, match the coaches' stories. So we could see in the data the problems that the coaches were remembering actually after half a year, and it makes sense. I mean, it's not very good feedback because sometimes it hurts to see that. It hurts to see the results. It's painful to acknowledge, shit, I haven't been as good as I thought I was. But then they can own up to it and they can say, well, but it's true. So it's actually true because they're telling their stories. We are matching it with their results. And we find it's fascinating to me because I was actually also skeptical about, can the software measure this presence, this precious something that we just theorize about? And it's really amazing how it can. So, and that's why it was so valuable also to create this book, so that the coaches can tell their stories, these subjective ways of having undergone this process of being part of the project, because we will have the facts and the figures of the research in the second book, but we also need this wealth of truth, subjective experiences, because the best way to learn is through experience. It's not through reading a book. It's not, well, it's okay, I'm not speaking against our own book, but the best way to learn is through experience. And that's why I said yes to your invitation, to your proposal, Angelis, because coaches' experience can make the project more lively, more tangible, as I said, so this is what research is about. It's not some ivory tower. It's not some people like, inventing some stuff. And it's really, it's real.
And you managed to engage coaches into and bring them into the book. And these were all very, very different coaches, not only in their style, in their clients, their audience, but also cultures.
Yeah.
And the other day they were asking me, how challenging is it, to edit a book like this, because all of them come from a completely different cultural perspective, right?
Yeah.
And wasn't that challenging? That was because they all speak English and write English perfectly, but then just like me, I think in Spanish. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, so that's my culture. I do write very well in English, but yes, I have this. It just cannot help to filter, right? My culture, my personality, and I think we capture that the culture and the personality of the coaches in their writing.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. and this brings in, thank you, Angelis, for bringing this up. Arrange. I see it as a fruitful moment to call in the coaches, because we were speaking about cultural perspectives. Grace, can I invite you to say something? Whatever comes to your mind, what you have heard about what would you like to share about your experience in this book and the research?
If you could just give a small introduction about who you are, what you do, and as Tünde said, why did you say yes to this project?
Right, thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this team, and thank you very much for allowing me the space to speak. My background was education. I used to be in the education. I did a PhD in education because I was always curious. And when Arij was referring to the emotional intelligence, Howard Gardner was my hero to be, and I was lucky to meet him at one of the conferences in the UK. So I am aware of the emotional intelligences and the power. And then eventually, I think I've got 3 years under my belt as a coach, but my curiosity is what led me to get involved in this book. I recall when Tünde actually, I got an email on my way to London actually, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. I thought I better get on that train and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. So I was reading through it and I'm thinking, wow, how intriguing. A research in coaching? A research about me as a coach? And all of a sudden I thought, hang on a second. I started evaluating myself as a coach. Why? Because I'm passionate about coaching. I care about my clients. And I want to ensure that when I offer my clients something, it is something of value. So the challenge for me was to think, well, if I'm going to allow myself to say yes to this project, I'm going to have to allow myself to be vulnerable. How often do you allow yourself to be vulnerable? Think about it. Not often. But I felt it was important for me to let myself be vulnerable for the sake of my clients. So saying yes wasn't an easy thing. And then the journey started. The challenges of going through the journey, because it's a commitment, you've signed up, you're excited, and you're thinking, right, we're going to be recording, and this is going to be about me and how I behave as a coach. When I sort of reflect back on one of the occasions, which I'll share with you in terms of presence, is I had an occasion where I had actually, and it's actually in my chapter, I had hurt my back at the gym. I was in agony and I just wanted to cancel this coaching session. Then I thought, no, I cannot cancel the session. I cannot let down my client. I cannot let down Tünde. We've got to get this done and I'm going to do it. So I had readjusted my office. I had a seat where I could sit up straight so I could, not sit because I could not. As I was coaching my client, I noticed something. I wasn't there. I wasn't present. My preoccupation was with the pain that was shooting through my back rather than actually being present for my client. I was fidgeting, I couldn't sit still. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, now this is a proof of not being present within the coaching. So without being involved in this process, I wouldn't have had an opportunity to notice my lack of being present with my client. So really reflecting on that one, it wasn't the best coaching session. The ones that I had before, because as we were moving along on this journey, I personally became very conscious about myself as a coach, of how I appeared, how I behaved, how that affected my clients. So really, the question has been in the book or the journey, how present are you as a coach? Mm-hmm. And I think if you look at the power of this research, it's that practical, real situation research where you are working with your clients, you are making your mistakes. And yes, we learn through mistakes. We're not perfect. But it's that vulnerability of accepting and saying, I am going to make myself look stupid for once in a while. Or for once in a lifetime, I'm accepting I'm not perfect. Why? Because I want to learn. Why? I want to make this not about me. It is about my client. Mm-hmm. And I know coaches care about their clients, but it's how we appear when we work with our clients. The shift in me that has happened is I haven't stopped. I don't think this is my last time I'll do research.
Wow.
by the end of my chapter, when I finished my chapter, I recall actually, I think I did call Tünde, and I said to her, this is the next project. She sort of gobsmacked and says, we haven't even finished nor published the book. I says, I know we haven't, but I've thought about it and I need to put it somewhere so I don't forget it. So I have to speak to her. So this for me is not the end. It's just the beginning of a new chapter of actually digging deeper into the research of coaching. Because coaching, like any other professional, needs to be validated. We need some evidence to really go out there and shine and speak with confidence and conviction and say, you know what? I'm a coach. I know how I appear. Why? Because I have been involved in such a research and we've got the proof to say it. So I know why. Otherwise we talk and people are asking, what are they all saying? Anybody can become a coach. Yes, you can become a coach, but what type of a coach do you want to become?
Yes.
Wow,
that's
very
my
inspiring.
question.
Yes.
Thank you, Grace. This is an amazing
welcome.
story.
Yes.
And I guess it's aligned with what just Angelis was saying, is that part of the aim of this book is to encourage more research to validate what we do and not just say, well, anyone can be coach, and what is this that you're doing? What is it that you sell? And yeah, thank you so much for sharing this, the story, and being okay with being vulnerable and being open, and it's okay not to be perfect.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I would like to add something to that, this vulnerability bit, for those who do not know that. For us, it's a matter of fact, we know that we were recording, but for those who do not know, so we did longitudinal research. We call it process research, which means that we invited the coaches to conclude 10 coaching hours over a period of 6 to 8 months. So they needed to have several sessions over time, and each session needed to be video recorded. So we did not look into the conversations, the audio material, but we very well needed to look into the video material. So this bit, also this vulnerability bit of allowing ourselves to have our sessions video recorded, this is already a big stretch and has been a big stretch for a lot of people, because not everybody accepted my invitation to come on board. So there were a lot of, well, I don't want, and so not everybody felt confident that they wanted to investigate their processes. And so what you are saying, Grace, about vulnerability is, yes, vulnerability in the bit when you were experiencing yourself with your presence, but also the very first bit of vulnerability you already ticked off for yourself, because you said yes to being videotaped, and not everyone can do this. And so thank you for your courage.
Yeah. Tünde, it's very important also to mention that it was almost the opposite for the book. We had more coaches wanting to participate and contribute to the book that we could really allow. And we stretched it. We had to expand, because at first we talked about 5 to 10 coaches, and it ended up way past 10 and clients. So it made it even richer, but we had the opposite effect of trying to participate in once they participated in research, there's no stopping them. They wanted to contribute more and more and more to the science, get better at what they do, and get more results for their clients. So of course it was like you had to be very, very careful evaluating every coach and making sure that there was a balance there, and that there was like a good participation and all of that. But all the coaches, all the people that wrote for the book, they should feel very honored, because you were among so many people that applied that said yes immediately to be part of this book. So yeah, you deserve it, because you were all very unique and very special, had experiences that were very useful for people to learn what's really like.
And each coach is telling a little bit of a different angle of their experience. So it's never the same story. And it's, as Angelis was saying earlier, like the personality shines through, the cultural background shines through, the coaching style shines through. So a lot of the way you write, everybody has got their own style, and this mosaic, this big mosaic of this is so colorful and so rich. And as Angelis is saying, we could not integrate all of you, because I had eventually 184 coach-client pairs in the research project. And eventually we just admitted 13 coaches and 6 clients for the sheer size, because we had to limit the book size as well. So thank you for everyone who is actually listening to this. If we could not include you, is because of the size of the book. We had to limit it at a certain point.
We tried, but maybe there's another book.
And just
So
very briefly,
the coaches that participated, they need to do research, and then we need to do another book about that research. No, but honestly, I really just want to mention 3 things. We intended to do something, and we're already there, to have a personal impact on all the people that contributed in the book, and all these coaches. They had a huge impact on growth already. And then a professional impact in terms of providing something to our peers and people that are in other industries as well. And then a social impact. And we haven't mentioned that we're donating a percentage of the profits to the ICF Foundation, and we're going to get together and pick a research project that we're going to fund with that. So
yeah, exactly. So that's a very important point that you're saying, that the revenues, the money that we are going to earn with this, like the percentage, first we need to cover the costs of publication and all this, but then we want to pick one project, and we want to fund one project that we find worthwhile funding, to inspire, to really live the purpose of the book, because the purpose of the book is to inspire research. And to be true to our word, we said that the money will flow into a research project, and we want to finance this research project that we will collectively choose which one it will be. So not any project, but one that we know is comprehensive and is worthwhile funding. Grace, you wanted to say something?
No, it was just, and I think Angelis actually touched on that. It's just the opportunity, it's given me personally an opportunity to grow personally and professionally, which is very, very valuable to have. So out there, coaches sitting, don't sit and think you can never do research. If you're curious, you want it, you can get it.
It's so interesting that you mentioned about the contribution, and that just this idea of everyone who's involved in this project and in this research as a whole, the value that they're getting back is just putting getting this wheel of research, and just having this strength, like you mentioned. And actually, all of us as coaches who participated in this book, financially we got nothing, but we got more value of getting together, communicating, connecting, which Tünde always talk about how we connected, how we committed to this project, how much we really believe in coaching, that we wanted to give it all we have, even though if we talk about materialistic things, we're not getting financially any we're not sharing any type of profit, but we are getting validated and getting feedback and learning more about ourselves as coaches, and then as a coaching field in general.
And you got a lot of training also on do I write a book? Everybody that buys the book also will see a tangible proof of how much you grew during this book program, because when you started, I first asked you, oh, I would like you to create a bonus for all, additional bonuses for the book, for people who buy the book. And the first draft of everybody's was like shocking to me. And I said, oh, no. So I started pushing you a little bit at a time. It's magnificent, the end product that we have to provide as an additional value for people that buy the book. They're all going to be blown away. And great examples here. Grace and Simone, oh my goodness, incredible bonus. And these are more than bonuses. These are ebooks in itself sometimes, because they're quite extensive and incredibly valuable for any professional that does coaching or that has to coach within a team. So yes, thank you for doing that. You exceeded my request and my expectations,
and through this, thank you, Angelis, for saying that, because through this, actually, you grew your marketing skills, because we are not very good, we coaches, psychologists, we are not very good at selling ourselves. We do our job and we help people, but we are not good at doing business, and we are not good at just making it visible. And what I saw where you grew is, allowing yourself I can learn this too, and this is also part of to see it as one integral part of being a coach. It's because if we want our clients to grow and be curious and look out for new ways how they can grow, how are we growing? How are we proving that we are also stretching ourselves, that we also go beyond of what we know, and we also touch base with unknown territory, and marketing is unknown territory for us. So, and this is where I think that we received a lot of support from Angelis, who was the business marketing expert, without whom, and the publisher, okay, so without whom I am very good at writing and probably coaching, but I could not publish a book. So it is owing to Angelis that we could also grow this skill through this book.
And they're so brave now that they're coming to me and telling me, so do you think I could write a book on my own? And I'm like, absolutely, it's going to be so much easier than trying to put all of these puzzle pieces together. Absolutely. I hope they get braver, and they all have such a distinct and unique voice and a gift that they need to share that it's going to be inevitable. I see all of them writing their own approach to coaching and creating and innovating on research that's there, using it to create something unique and valuable for their particular clients and the people that they serve.
I feel like we are kind of like, I'm not sure about time, because
I was just going to mention that it's 11 o'clock, and we have, according to schedule, we had Coach Abdullah was supposed to start talking about coaching presence. If it's okay, Coach Abdullah, we can just, because we have Simone with us, if we can give her a chance.
I'm very excited. It's a great teamwork. You did good. Yeah, continue.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate
Simone.
it.
Yes, exactly. Simone, please, because we have been, taken away by this passion and inspiration that we have for this. Please share your experience in the book with us.
Yeah, and we also have Irene with us. So if we can split the time between Simone and Irene to share their stories, that'll be great.
I'll be brief. I am a leadership and team coach, and my background is actually in human resources. I worked in the private sector mostly for about 20 years in a variety of different organizations, from startup to multinational, and it was during that time that I came to coaching, but it wasn't with the intention of being a coach. I came to coaching because I'm very interested in conversations and how we relate, and I figured if we spend our life in conversation and dialogue and in relationships, how do we make them better? And it was really through my coaching experience, and I mean, I'm now a coach. I have been for the last 5 or 6 years, and I also train coaches for 2 schools. I became more and more interested. Initially, my focus was much more about the conversation. Probably I came more from the provocative perspective, exploring perspectives, questions, etc. But I've started in more recent times to gravitate more towards the evocative versus the provocative. And so I was already very much in the exploration for myself and for my life, not just in coaching, the space of presence and what that means. And as a coach, the impact, not so much actually of certainly not our methodology, but not even so much the skills and competencies, but I was really in the exploration of how do we impact the relationship, because coaching for me is more than anything a relationship. And how does our way of being and showing up impact the process? And how does that process impact the outcome for the clients? And so I actually found out about the research project, I think late in the day by chance. It was a faculty colleague of mine that pointed me to it, saying you would be interested in it. And indeed I was. But by the time, and I reacted swiftly, but nevertheless, I remember speaking to Tünde, and I remember where I was physically, and I was kind of in a rush. I was going to another meeting. I realized it was late in the day with the recruitment of coaches, and if I wanted to be on board, and me, I had no hesitation in the yes. To be honest, it didn't, like, vulnerability didn't cross my mind. It was actually the logistics. How do I quickly find 2 new clients with whom I can do this with? And they need to be physical in my town, because I typically coach via Zoom all around the world. So my coaches are not necessarily in Geneva where I am. And I now needed to find 2, but now, and normally my clients find me, so I couldn't rely on that. So yeah, my challenge was much more logistics. And although I'm quite techie, my mind kind of went to, I don't know, what does this mean? I'm schlepping around a camera. I really don't want to be erecting tripods. I did reach out to my network, but I think I already decided, no, I don't want to be putting them up. So yeah, that was the experience. And I didn't hesitate in trying to get in because I was so interested in the topic and I wanted to learn. I was intrigued by how there could be an objective measure of presence, even first how you define it and synchrony, and then how it could be objectively measured by machines. So my desire to be involved was to learn.
Wow. Thank you so much, Simone.
You're welcome. And it was great to be part of the whole project.
Yeah.
That was
like you said, it's challenging, and like Angelis was mentioning, is that this project just keep pushing us and challenging us, and just thinking that this is what we do, and now no, this is not. You need to do more. There's more opportunities. There's more possibilities, and even things that you weren't thinking about. Like you mentioned, like most of your clients are virtually, and now you had to do face to face. So it's always keeping us challenged and pushing us to do more.
Yeah, and they needed to be agreed to be filmed. Face to face coaching is also not my challenge so much. I do that when I train and demo, but I needed to find 2 right now in Geneva, and they needed to be willing. And actually, I only found 1 finally. I found 2, but the second one was like, I'm not, no, the filming, no.
Yeah.
I work in security and no, and I tried to explain about scrubbing and no voice, and he was like, yep, no, I want to work with you, but I don't want to be filmed. So yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, those were the initial challenges. I'll limit it to that. That was my inroad and my motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And despite all these challenges, you said also yes to the book. What?
Yeah. I think again, it's because of my motivation was about learning, and I saw the book as a way of me processing my experience, which by then had become apparent. It wasn't really, I didn't really go to the experience of how it would be. It was more about how can I start, how can I get in, how can I qualify to start, there's a deadline. So it's a way of me processing my learning, and I'm super excited to be able to read the book because I have no idea how the other coaches' journeys were. And it was great also to read my client's perspective, which was, yeah, I mean, it was different to mine, obviously. He was in a different place, but like how he felt about being videoed and coming to my place. And yeah, so it was a beautiful learning experience. And obviously, because you know presence is the topic, you become suddenly more aware of, hyper aware of what's happening, how am I feeling, how are they feeling, how do I think they're feeling, how are they feeling, now how am I feeling?
Yeah, exactly. Just the way Grace was saying, like, it's a moment of consciousness and noticing, and suddenly you pay attention differently, right? So it just being part of this affected the way you paid attention.
Oh, and I had many questions. I'm like, what are these questions they give them at the end? Like, what is he doing? How am I doing? What's the machine going to say? Am I doing this right? Normally I would get up and move, but now I can't because we'll be off camera. Oh no.
Yeah, great. Oh, super.
Point out that, like, when Simone was saying the machine and just being conscious of being viewed or being judged or being evaluated. But I think one of the things that is unique about this research is that it really brought together the human part from this book, which is our own perspective, the client's perspective, how they experienced it, and also in terms of intelligence, artificial intelligence, and the machine. So it combined two things that rarely you see in research, in scientific research. So it's a very unique research project. We have Irene. She's with us. Hello.
Hi, hello
How are
everyone.
you?
I hope to be brief. I didn't take the camera on because I need to move like a squirrel, and I think that can be awkward for all of you. Okay. What was the experience for me? Well, the first time I met Tünde, I show my vulnerability. It's not so easy to see me vulnerable, I can tell you. And so I said yes because I trusted her, and she became my sister. I love her like we have the same mother. And it was a great experience, and an experience that, and I told this in a book, I want just to share with you, the most important point for me was that if I allow myself to be present, no matter what's going on in my life, I can be very impactful with my client, because I have a session that was the 8th session with my 3rd client. I was in my own training experienced a time of my life where I was so depressed that I felt desperate, really. And I was in that mood, and I wanted to call my client. I didn't know why I didn't call her to change the date and all these things. And I say, okay, let's move forward. When I saw her, I understood that that was the right space, time, and moment to have the coaching session. And despite my mood didn't change, I was so present that I wasn't able to make the session and coach her. And I said, wow, this is a great learning for myself, because I had this idea that if I am not happy, if I'm not super energized, if I am not super performing, I cannot coach. This is not true for me, wasn't true for me. because the most important thing for me that has Grace shared, I care about my client, but can be very aggressive. If someone touch my client's dignity, I can be very aggressive. So like a protector. And this is my style, my way of love people. I'm very protective and I care about them. And I respect in highest level the confidentiality. This is something that it's absolutely important to me, and somehow changed my life a lot. But because I think that because of this book, I was called for being a presenter the next year in New York for the annual Congress of Psychiatric and Mental Health, and I don't know how this happened.
Wow.
But after we put one of our, advertising, our message on LinkedIn, I was called from one of the organizers and say, we want to call you as an expert. I say, expert? Well, maybe I take the risk. So I would like to thank very much Tünde for allowing me to take all the risks in my life from that moment and further, because I'm so introvert that instead of show up or do things like I'm doing now, I'd rather die. So thank you for be such a catalyst for all of you to change my life, and also with Angelis that I have two wonderful conversations. I will repeat as soon as I can because this time is messy for me because I live with 6 persons and clients and a lot of people that are starting to experience burnout from the situation of the lockdown. I'm based in Italy and we have one of the hardest lockdown in the world. So you can understand that this impacted a lot life of people. So I think that we have a call to be there to help people and keep helping as much as we can. Thank you. I will close my camera because I need to move now.
Okay, thank you, Irene, for the wonderful short input that you have given that has been so powerful nonetheless. So, and the trust that you are placing in us, this is, I feel so touched. This is so beautiful. So thank you guys. So, Irene, how would you like to take this further? Because I think that we...
Well, we were supposed to stop 15 minutes ago, but I think the conversation is very interesting, and we have 2 questions. I just want to make sure that Coach Abdullah is okay because we're taking his time. So
I read the questions. It's important. I think it's touching, especially the second one about remote coaching sessions. How can we, is the book or is there something in the book that can solve the coaching presence issue in this kind of sessions?
I suppose this is a question to me, right? To the researcher. Okay. So yes, there is an answer to this. So presence is nothing to do. Nothing is probably a little bit overstated because we will be different in through a camera than physically. But basically the presence, the way we measured it, so the line of hypothesis is not about being physically present. We needed to be physically present for the research project because today the only technology that exists to measure presence is face-to-face physically. But it doesn't mean that the energy, that motion energy or energy is not present with us here. Because I am the same person that I would be if you were with me in this room. But we could not measure it because there's no way to record a session like ours and then put it into a system to analyze it. So that was the only constraint. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing is that the way we conceptualize presence is as a way of responsiveness to the other person's needs. And responsiveness needs to be spontaneous. And that's the presence bit, because we are not spontaneous. I learned it I learned a very hard lesson. I almost had a failure moment in my career serving a client because I had not been spontaneously responding to my client's need. And the clients are never stupid. People are always going to check in with us, like you are probably right now checking in with me. Is this woman congruent? Is what she's speaking here what is coming from the headspace? Is this congruent with the rest of her, how her body is expressing itself? Because the body will never lie. We can, for example, learn through body language exercises to show up in a certain way. But if we do so, we're actually blocking the flow of energy. And this is not the point in the research. So the research really wants to see, like, what is the impact of being spontaneously responsive? What is the impact of that on client psychological safety? Because my client wasn't feeling safe with me when she noticed that I was saying, I understand you, but my body went back like this. So she picked up on this lack of congruence, and she felt unsafe, and she actually wanted to quit the coaching engagement. And that's how I got curious. Wait a second, what is happening here? After so many years of coaching and accolades and accreditations and certifications, what is it that I'm missing? And then I found that actually being spontaneously responsive is not as easy as we might believe that we are. As you were saying, like presence, we believe we are, but are we really? And then I found out that actually I was having very much mental noise in my head that got stuck energetically in my body. And that's why my body went back. And this mental clutter in my head was because when I was hired by the client CEO, he said to me, and he was pointing his finger the way I'm pointing my finger to you, you better make this job work. And I thought, okay, cool, yeah, you'll be my guest. I like performance increase. I like growth, of course, sure, I care. I will make this a success, sure. But I didn't forget that this kind of sort of even command, you better make this one work. I was hired because the CEO had known me from previous engagements, and they were successful. But something for the CEO seemed to be very, very important about coaching this employee. And he just wanted to be clear, Tünde, please be successful with this. But this command, this way of relating with me, even though I didn't notice it, somehow created a lot of mental pressure in my head. And this mental pressure was staying with me for a long while until the client said, hey, you say you understand me, but your body goes back. So that's where I got very curious about spontaneous responsiveness, because I wasn't able to spontaneously respond to her. So, and this sort of presence, this energy, that how you are and how you respond, can be also there through Zoom. But we were not able to measure it because technology is not there yet. Yeah. I hope I answered the question well.
Yes, you did. The second question will give you just 3 minutes to answer. If you can read it, Ariel.
Yes, okay. Well, this question is about, I'll read it as it is. It says, how far is the collaboration between ICF and psychologists and neuroscientists in regard to research, since coaches are too much involved in facing clients where they can provide an excellent data that can be used in researches? For example, to see how effective is coaching and how effective in improving lifestyle of clients and how effective in improving even the coach himself. And this person is just mentioning that my question is from a medical perspective, because it can be even advised by physicians to improve lifestyle of patients? And how would you think about this as future plans? There's so many questions involved.
Well, Abdullah, you gave me 3 minutes for this one. This long question. Are you serious about this, guys?
That's the challenge.
Yeah, okay. So let me try to spontaneously respond to this. So number one, thank you so much for caring for your clients like this. As goes for ICF, I'm not sure why the question pops up in relation with ICF. But the way things look at the moment is that ICF is trying to do research more and more. But the problem is to understand the mechanisms that you are describing in your question, the list of questions that you have posed is, this takes process research. And ICF is not, like, very few people or very few organizations can afford to do process research. Process research is it's longitudinal, it takes time. And life happens over time. So what is easy to do in terms of research nowadays is you send out a survey, you ask the people, and you have to reassure the people, it will just take you 5 minutes to answer the question, or maximum 15 minutes, because people are not willing to take their time and to really reflect. And these are just surveys. So you actually report about an experience retrospectively. So we cannot look into the real processes, and only research, like through longitudinal process research can do that. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of commitment, as you have heard. And this is not happening. And ICF has, I must tell quite honestly, I'm not aware of any, and I have been looking into research now since 1993, because that's the date when research kicked off and coaching started being researched and taken seriously. And there is very, very few research. Where you can go if you are interested is Oxford Brookes University in the United Kingdom, where I know that Professor Tatiana Bakhirova and her team, they are very much interested in process research, but it's very difficult to do. You need to find a population. You need a large population for this because you need statistical relevance. So we are, to answer the question briefly, we are not there. And that's why the book invites and tries to inspire you guys. Please help us do more research. And we are also willing to take the revenues that we earn with the book and fund it back into a research project that is hopefully a process research project, so that we can do more and probably next time answer your question. So please, guys, do research, invest yourselves. This is how I would like to answer this question.
All right, thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure being part of this team and having you tonight. I know we're at different time zone, but everyone made it here, so thank you everyone for participating. And you're more than welcome to stay for our next session. I'm really grateful for Coach Abdullah for having us take about 20 minutes of his time. Yes. So now he will start with his session. It's going to be in Arabic about coaching presence.
Okay, let me start with feeling amazing to be with you tonight and to talk with the great people like you. When I think about what we are talking about now and what we have now, and the day one that everything kicked off and started, when I just searched the Facebook, I'm not a Facebook fan, I don't open it usually. And it's some kind, if you can believe in universal messages or something like that, something called me to open Facebook. I opened the Facebook, I opened the group. I didn't go through that group before, and I just read what Tünde just posted. And I thought that it's interesting. Let me ask Arij. I copy it and send it to Arij and give me your opinion. Arij said, it's interesting. We can talk with her. I told him, just talk with them, not as coaches, as a foundation, as an establishment, as someone who can give her as many coaches as she needs. In that time, I thought that I am handling it. It's easy. I trained 300 coaches, and when I told them just come, I thought it that easy. I just need to call them, and they will say, "Oh yeah, Captain." And when we just have the deal and the agreement with Tünde, and we started calling, we faced the first and second and third problem. People do not like to be engaged in videotaped sessions.
Yeah.
Even the coach or the coachee. And if you have him, and if he agreed or she agreed, how long they will stay with you to finish the project. It's so many difficult started, but with Arij and with my Octarium team, they are amazing. I am proud of my team and what they have done to support this book and this project. And here we are. Yes. What we have now. It's great. It's great. It's something that put in human map and in all universe, we put a spotlight. We put something that can make positive change as our vision in Octarium.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to close and
reminding us.
Yes, thank you for reminding us, and thank you again, Abdullah. I know that because of your curiosity, just this, you call it universal, I don't know what, but thank you for just going with your energies and the flow, and thank you so much again for having made this possible. And Arij has been the best project manager ever.
yeah, indeed. You're right.
I actually had a wonderful team. Of course, the support of Coach Abdullah and everyone in Octarium. And especially, I have to say thank you to our IT. And I told Tünde about her. She's just amazing. Wala, if she's here, thank you so much. She handled all the technical stuff with no hesitation. Yes. And all of Octarium team, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll go to Arabic side now.
Okay.
I told you need to learn Arabic.
Well, I've learned enough in my life. Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone, and have a good night and have a good evening wherever you might be.
Thank you
Blessings.
so much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
اوكي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله صلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين. حياكم الله. انا اكون سريع جدا لانه تقريبا we are out of time. خرجنا عن الوقت المتاح. لكن سريعا ايش الكفاءة هذه اللي كلنا قاعدين نتكلم عنها؟ كفاءة الحضور ليش مهمة؟ ايش البحث اللي صار وقديش ساعد؟ الموضوع كبير جدا على اني اقوله في حوالي 5 دقائق. انا قاعد اعطي نفسي ان شاء الله اني ما نزيد عنها. لكن خليني اعرفكم اول شيء مين انا. عبد الله اليحيى اخوكم، المؤسس لاوكتاريوم السعوديه واوكتاريوم السويد، والمدير العام لاوكتاريوم. اوكتاريوم مؤسسه سعوديه بدات في تقريبا 2015 فعليا، ولا هي بدات قبل. هي متخصصة في الكوتشنج، وتعتبر المؤسسة السعودية الوحيدة حتى الآن المسجلة في الاتحاد الدولي للكوتشنج. نقدم خدمات الكوتشنج سواء بما يتعلق بجلسات الكوتشنج، الأدوات حقة الكوتش بما فيها الاسسمنتس أو المقاييس، جلسات البرامج الكوتشنج سواء قصيرة المدى وبعيدة المدى، بالإضافة إلى التدريب المعتمد على الكوتشنج. هذا كله نقدمه، والآن صرنا نقدم كمان الأبحاث الخاصة بالكوتشنج، وهذا من فضل الله سبحانه وتعالى عليه. أخوكم عبد الله BCC كوتش، سيرتيفايد كوتش من الاتحاد الدولي للكوتشنج، ودربت حتى الآن ما يزيد عن 300 كوتش على مستوى العالم العربي، وأتشرف بها.
الكوتشنج بريزنس او كفاءة الحضور، انك تستحضر وعيك يكون موجود بتلقائية، بمعنى انه انت ما انت قاعد تفرض على نفسك الوعي مع المستفيد، لا انت قاعد تعيش ذا فلو، تعيش الانسيابية، التيار مع المستفيد، فكأنك امتزجت معه لدرجة انه مشاعرك تمشي مع مشاعره، فهمك يمشي مع فهمه، استيعابك يمشي مع استيعابه، لدرجة انه ممكن تكون انت انعكاس مرآة شبه حقيقي لهذا المستفيد. وهذه الكفاءة رغم انها يعني من الصعب اكتشافها، لكن البحث اللي سوته توندي واللي معاها سوت جهد مرة رائع، انها استطاعت بما يمكن وهو ما هو متاح انها تحول مراقبة هذه الكفاءة الى ارقام من خلال استخدمت اداتين، اللي هي الاداة الالكترونية بالتصوير والاداة الكمية او من خلال السيرفي او سؤال العميل او المستفيد. لحظة بس. طيب ايش البحث اللي تم؟ البحث الهدف منه فهم اعمق وعلى اسس علمية للي يدور في جلسة الكوتشنج مما يؤثر على فعالية الجلسة. القدرة على دراسة وقياس هذه الكفاءة وكيف نقدر نعززها وكيف تقدر يعني يمكن تعزيزها ورفع يعني مستواها عند الكوتش. الهدف من البحث انه يكون فائدة للكوتشز علشان يكونون حاضرين اكثر. كلمة حاضر اكثر بمعنى to be here and now، انك تكون مع المستفيد الان وهنا، ما تكون مشغول لا فكريا ولا جسديا، لغة جسدك مع لغة وجهك مع الأسئلة كلها تتكامل لأجل المستفيد. ليش؟ لأنه الجلسة it's all about your client، الجلسة كلها تدور حول مستفيدك، مو حولك أنت، مو حول احتياجاتك أو نظرتك للأمور أو حكمك عليها أو فهمك لها أو إيش اللي تشوفه صح واللي تشوفه غلط، لا، الموضوع كله يدور حول المستفيد. وبالتالي المستفيد أعطاك وقته ودفع ماله لأجل أن تكون هو، لأجل أن تكون موجود لأجله، وهذه نقدر نقول هي كفاءة الحضور. كيف تم هذا البحث؟ البحث قام على دراسة الحضور من خلال جلسات مسجلة بالفيديو. تسجل بالفيديو لكن ما تصل للباحث اللي هو تندي وفريقه بالفيديو، كانت تتصور وتتحول إلى إيش نسميها نيجاتيف، يعني صورة أبيض وأسود، بحيث الكاركترز أو الأشخاص ما يبانون، هوياتهم ما هي واضحة، حتى الأصوات يتم إزالتها وتوصل للباحث عبارة عن زي شادو موفمنت أو ظلال تتحرك بدون صوت، لكي يقيس من خلال الأجهزة أو من خلال البرنامج الإلكتروني يقيس الموفمنت أو حركة العميل مع حركة المستفيد. طلب من بعد كل جلسة كل مستفيد يعبي استبيان عشان يفهم وجهة نظر المستفيد وربطها بما حدث أو ما يجري في الجلسة. قدمت أكتيريوم لهذا البحث تقريبا 200 جلسة، قدمها مجموعة من الكوتشز الأدفانس، وبهذا الصدد أنا ممتن جدا لهذول الكوتشز الرائعين العظماء اللي كان على استعداد أنهم يبذلون من وقتهم لأجل إنجاح هذا البحث وهذا الريسيرش. أشكرهم فردا فردا. لا يكفي فقط أنهم استلموا شهادة CCE يونت، ولا يكفي أنهم إحنا شكرناهم في بيننا وبينهم، أشكرهم أمامكم فردا فردا. الجهات اللي أشرفت على البحث، قوة البحث أيضا في الجهات اللي أشرفت عليه. 3 مدارس جامعية على مستوى العالم، المدرسة الأولى زي ما أنتم شايفين في هولندا، المدرسة الثانية في اليوكي في بريطانيا، والمدرسة الثالثة في اليونايتد ستيتس في أمريكا، وهذا كله بإشراف مالي ودعم مالي من هارفارد سكول اوف كوتشنج. وهذا يعطينا بعد قديش البحث هذا قوي، انه تشرف عليه جامعه تعتبر من اعرق جامعات العالم واقواها اللي هي هارفارد يونيفرسيتي. ليش تعتبر هذه الكفاءه مهمه؟ تكلمت عنها، انها هي الكوتشنج، هي لب الكوتشنج، بل هي الجزء المحرك الاساسي للكفاءات كلها، انها تشتغل بانسيابيه وقوه باذن الله. انا عبد الله اليحيى، تشرفت اني اكون معاكم، المدير العام لاوكتيريوم فور كوتشنج. انا وفريقي قدمنا وساعدنا وبذلنا لكي نقدم شيئا جميلا لعالم الكوتشنج وممارسه الكوتشنج. سعيدين بهذا الانجاز اللي وصلنا له، سعيدين باننا اضفنا للكوتشز في العالم ممارسه وقوه ممارسه باذن الله سبحانه وتعالى تنقلنا الى خطوه جريئه وقويه للامام بحول الله سبحانه وتعالى. اللي يبغى يتواصل معنا يصور الشاشه اللي امامكم، واحنا متاحين لاي اسئله او اي تواصل يشرفنا او اي خدمات نقدمها. شكرا لكم وفي امان الله، والمايك لك يا رجل.
شكرا كوتش عبد الله، وما شاء الله عليك، يعني رغم انه ضيقنا عليك الوقت بس ما شاء الله اعطيت معلومات جدا مهمه وقيمه في موضوع الكوتشنج بريزنس. بس اشكر الحضور كل اللي حضرنا اليوم، وشكرا للجميع اللي يحب يتواصل معنا. هذه ارقام التليفونات، وحطينا كمان في الشات معلومات اوكتيريوم، فاللي يحب يتواصل معنا في سواء كان للجلسات او التدريب او المقاييس اللي بنقدمها. وتابعونا في السوشيال ميديا، لانه ما شاء الله اوكتيريوم دائما عندها شيء جديد، سواء كان لقاءات، دورات تدريبيه، عروض تهم يعني تقريبا كل فئات المجتمع، من آباء وأمهات ومعلمين وليدرز قادة. فتابعونا، وشكرا وبس، وسلامتكم.
يعطيكم العافية، في أمان الله.
يعطيكم العافية، شكرا،
مع السلامة.